I'm trying to map out the road behind me before memory softens the details. It began in early spring, when a casual friendship of man from a neighborhood quietly shifted into something more. By late spring, the emotional boundary was gone. We crossed a physical line. In his parked car, the affair lasted 5 months, hidden behind Sunday smiles, shared playlists, and a secret email account. 2 weeks ago, my husband discovered a leftover draft while searching for a receipt. That was the day everything changed. 10 days ago, I cut off all contact with the other man. I deleted the email account. Now we're on a prepaid beach trip that feels less like a vacation and more like a therapy marathon. An hour ago, my husband walked out after I admitted something I hadn't before, that my best friend was more involved in the cover-up than I'd originally said. I had told him she sent one message for me. Turns out there were 2. I hadn't remembered until he mentioned something that triggered it. When I confessed, he left the room without his shoes on. I almost chased him but stopped myself, because chasing always becomes pleading, and pleading leads to fragile promises that break the next time a forgotten detail surfaces. I've been trying to stay honest the moment something resurfaces, but memory doesn't cooperate. It's like pulling weeds only to find roots crawling deeper, sideways. I keep telling him I'm done with lies, but then another piece appears and slices through his trust again. He says it makes everything feel rewritten, like he can't believe any version of our past. Therapy has started. We've done 1 joint session. Individual sessions begin next week. The therapist warned that disclosure often comes in waves. He asked her if that meant years of emotional landmines. She said the field could shrink with work, but danger would always exist. He's not fond of her. He thinks she sighed with me too easily because she's a woman. I've brushed off her concerns, said it's all in his head. Right now, I'm desperate for something practical to help shrink the field of pain. I'm jotting down everything I can remember. I'd even try a polygraph, hypnosis, anything. I'm terrified he'll stay gone all night and decide he deserves peace more than he wants this marriage. We could survive financially if we split, but just barely. We refinanced the house to pay for my graduate degree. I earn less. If he files, the house will probably be sold. I'd have to move back in with my parents. That's the hard truth beneath the emotion. He came back to the room the next morning. We sat on the balcony, and he asked for a full written timeline by the next session. I wrote until my hand gave out, then typed until morning. I read the whole thing aloud in therapy. Since then, no new bombshells have surfaced. Trust is still fragile, but steady. We've told others. His parents, who helped with our daughter, were kind to him, cold to me. I expected that. My parents cried and offered us a place to stay if needed. I feel like a child again every time my dad texts to ask if I've eaten. We told the other man's wife. That was brutal. She works as an office manager at an old church. She lunged at me, furious. I stayed calm. 3 days later, she emailed my husband a list of days her husband left for long lunches. Each one matched what I'd recorded in my timeline. That spared me from yet another credibility loss. I've started going to a new church. Quietly. Half the choir knows people from our old one. Gossip spreads faster than hymns. I want to be honest with the new church, but my husband asked me not to. He said he didn't want my healing to become a public redemption arc. So I stay low, sing softly, and slip out when service ends. He asked me the other day if I ever cried during the affair. I told him yes, but only alone with the dog. Most of the time, I shoved the guilt down because if I let myself feel it, I would have lost the fantasy. That answer hurt him more than if I'd said I felt nothing at all. I had no better answer, just an apology. We discussed money with a counselor present. If he files, the house goes up for sale, and we split what's left. I take the student loan and half the credit card debt. I'll need weekend shifts to afford a small apartment. The counselor asked me if I understood the financial risk. I said I did. Then she asked if I was willing to lose comfort for integrity. I told her yes. Comfort without integrity had poisoned everything. He still wears his ring. Mine stays off until he says otherwise. Some days, I catch a glimpse of warmth in him. Other days, I feel the weight of memory pulling him down. I've learned that rebuilding isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing up consistently in plain and steady ways. He says he's not measuring my words, but my patterns. I've given him 4 months of consistency. So far, it feels like carrying a tray of water across a swaying bridge. One misstep, and all goes spilling. Now it's over. I waited to share this until the papers arrived. They came yesterday. A few weeks ago, he told me he couldn't imagine a future where he felt safe again. Love had become vigilance, he said, and vigilance makes for a terrible home. He'll keep the house by refinancing it alone. I gave up my equity so he'd take the credit card debt. I'll move into my parents' guest room this weekend while I look for something small nearby. The counselor said the end doesn't erase my work. The changes I made still matter because I carry myself into every room I enter. She's right, though it still hurts. I wanted my growth to be a gift to him, but it's become baggage for the next part of my life. 2 things undid us: triggers and grief. He found an old tablet with a backup of our shared playlist. He said hearing those songs felt like being sucker punched, like discovering someone else's coat hanging in his closet. I had no idea the file existed. Another explosion, another slip in trust. And then came my delayed grief. After the urgency of repair faded, I collapsed into shame and numbness. When he asked how I felt, I didn't have words, just shrugs. Those silences made him feel like I had checked out again. He needed engagement. I retreated, and the distance grew. I tried emergency repairs, new therapy, even a polygraph. But he had already moved into the guest room. Decision made. We told our daughter gently. She cried and asked if we were still friends, then asked about the dog. The dog stays with him. More space in the yard. I'll visit as part of the custody plan. I can afford a small duplex. The loans remain. Friends tell me I should have pushed for more money. But the truth is, I signed because no amount of equity would heal what I broke. If anyone reading this is still mid-crisis, stay honest sooner. Trickle truth is poison. If your partner walks away even after your full truth, your work is not wasted. It lives in how you parent, how you love again, how you live with yourself. I loved my husband enough to tell the truth, but I loved secrecy longer. He chose self-respect over repair. I'll learn to mirror that in my own life. That's the end of this chapter. Boxes are packed. A new lease awaits. My phone is lighter, my heart heavier, but I carry no illusions, no shortcuts. If you're hiding something right now, drop the mask. The truth costs less than the damage delay will bring.